Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Mad River Local Board of Education Board meeting.
Hang on one second, Scott.
Okay,
I'll tell you when it's, right now it's loading us.
okay.
Those have a good smell.
Where are you at?
Okay,
At home?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Mad River Local Board of Education Board meeting for March 26, 2020. At this time, would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I will pull that up, and if you'll just stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. If I can get it up here, there we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the
to the
republic
republic
stands
for
which
which
it
it stands,
stands,
one nation
under God, indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
for all.
That was weird.
I know that was kind of tough. It's okay. All right, back in session here. Mr. Ellender, if you would please call the roll.
Mrs. Denning,
Here, Julie.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Here, Ruth.
Mrs. Pickle,
Here, Christina.
Ms. Steiner,
Here, Marilyn.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle. Seeing no superintendent special guest at this time, we will move on to the district update, which we canceled that. We're going to bring Principal Monin back at another point when we're back in school. Right at this time, we really don't have any data for her to share. So given that the case, we'll bring her back when it's more productive with us in our meeting. With that, we will move on to section 6 would be the superintendent's report. Mr. Ellender.
Mr.
I'm
Weed.
sorry, Mr. Wien. Sorry. I'm looking at your name. Secretary.
I've sent you guys several emails over the past day and a half. Some updates with what we're working on in regards to graduation with our seniors. If in fact this continues beyond April 6th, the building principal, Mrs. Simpson, the counselors, and her administrative team, along with Mrs. Wagner, have been working hard on coming up with a plan, especially based on the outcome of House Bill 197, the amendments that I also shared with you guys through email. And I kind of put together just a critical list of things that we need to look at for Mad River local schools I sent today, highlights. So those are two things that we're focusing on, just the outcome of the House Bill amendments. And then embedded with that is graduation. I also sent you an update from each of the buildings as far as their communications that they're sending out from the principals to the staff members. Our staff members have been just doing a wonderful job working with our students and their families up to this point. So I anticipate over the next, either it's tomorrow or sometime early next week, that the governor will probably update us on what our next step is. And we'll see if we'll be back in session on April 6th.
Okay. Chad, one of the things you mentioned that there's the plan for adoption when an emergency is declared. I haven't read through the whole 197 yet, but have they given us a timeline to when we have to have that in play?
That's not in the summary I received today. However, I would recommend putting that on the next board meeting for policy and then for approval at the meeting after that. Okay.
Okay, very good. I'm just kind of looking through it now to see if there's anything that jumps out to me. That's obviously the biggest thing. Has Principal Simpson been able to share much with you as far as anybody that's not on track? Do we have a population that is not on track today that we know?
We have about 20 students as of today that they're trying to work through some alternative plans that are not on track. Otherwise, it looks like based on the data that they shared with me, every other student should be on track as long as they complete their packets at home and do what they need to do with like the K-12 curriculum if they're engaging online. Otherwise, it looks like we have about 20 students right now as of today that we really need to come in with a very intensive plan, work with their parents. I know that the counselors have been in contact with their parents both through email, they've left or talked to them in person on phone, and have sent out other information. So they're doing their due diligence on their end to make sure that the students have all the tools that they need in order to try to graduate on time this year.
Okay, great.
Chad, do you have any kind of numbers yet? Approximately how many that would be?
We have 20 students that are completely at risk. We have a couple other students that they're working through. Like I said, as long as they do what they need to do at home with their packets and everything for their core content areas, and can work through some of the alternative pathways to graduation, they're fine. We have 20 that are right on the bubble that we need to make sure that we engage them and their parents and make sure that they have everything they need to help get on track and graduate on time with their cohort. So the number is 20 right now.
How many's in the senior class? Around.
There's around 249, 250.
Okay, thank you.
It's a little bit smaller class.
Okay. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate it. To the rest of the board, I would just indicate that I encourage you to go ahead and take a look at the 3 communications that Chad sent out. One is on graduation. The other one is, again, just kind of what the principals and staff are doing in each of the buildings. That came out today around noon from Mr. Wien. And then if you want to look further at the bill, it's House Bill, not Senate bill, but House Bill 197. I'm sure that's online at ohio.gov now that you could take a look at it should you have more questions on that. There is a lot in there. I went over it last night with Rick Lewis and Lee Schreiner, and it took a while to get through it, but there's a lot in there. Chad, do you want to give an update on where they stand with Ed Choice? Or do you want me to mention that?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it's just going to kind of maintain the way it was this school year.
Correct.
Which, you know, it's not really, I mean, it has an impact on us, and we're going to continue to work through that with our legislators. But the good thing is they're not adding any additional buildings as of today based on House Bill 197's amendments, which is a good thing. So that was kind of on the back burner. You know, we had about 7 critical points we had to focus on, and that was kind of like number 8 or number 9 on our list.
Yep. Okay, great. Any more questions for Mr. Wien on the superintendent's report?
Hey, Chad, I'm sure you've already thought about this and you guys are working through it, but I had a question from a couple parents just in general chat about how, if this goes on, you know, and we don't get to go back to school, how are we going to handle scheduling and that for students?
To be honest with you, a lot's going to come out over the next couple of days. And when we have kind of a firm answer, I mean, without having a lot of information in front of me from all the chatter that I'm hearing, I don't anticipate us going back until May 4th. I don't know if that's a firm decision. I know that has been part of the conversation. So I don't want to make any assumptions on that. So, you know, there's a lot of things that I've been talking to Mrs. Wagner and the principals about over the last couple of days as far as kind of the what ifs. And until we have, I guess, more of a firm answer from the governor in that, we're just going to kind of have to play the wait and see approach on some of these topics. We do have a plan for taking packets back and redistribution. I talked about that the other day. So, you know, as things kind of play out, we'll have a more firm answer for a lot of those questions. But as of today, what we know, we're going back April 6th, and we're just going to stick with that date until we hear otherwise.
There's just some parents concerned that the kids are going to get stuck in whatever classes versus getting to choose their classes.
You're talking about
Yeah,
next year?
Like going into high school kids. Yeah, going into next year. Even if we go back late, okay, because everybody anticipates April 6th isn't going to happen most people are anticipating that, just, have you thought through that? That's all I want to make sure of is, are we thinking through how we're going to handle making sure kids get the classes that they're interested in, that they need, that sort of thing. Because you got, eighth graders coming in for the first time, and then you got freshmen and, and rest of the high schoolers needing to pick their classes.
Yeah. They,
I completely understand. Sorry, Kristen.
that's okay. They are working, I know Tina, as we speak, has been working on, just schedule options and things, and to just put kids in classes that they're not even, interested in is not the way that the high school would want to move forward with anything. So I know that when it comes time, like Chad said, that we have a better idea of what this is going to look like, and we can start to make plans of, is it going to be in May, is it going to be, when is it going to be, we can start some of that work. So right now it's just the background of, in the background, getting everything ready, figuring out the sections, things like that. And Tina's been working on that for a while. So
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to section 7, which is the approval of the minutes of the meeting held February 24th, 2020, and that is addendum number 1. Mr. Ellender?
There are no additions or corrections to the February 24th board meeting minutes. I'd ask for your approval, please.
Moved by Julie.
Second by Pickle.
Any questions or comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Ms. Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mrs. Steiner,
Abstain, Marilyn.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to section 8, financial reports. Mr. Ellender?
In your packet is the February financial statements, the bill listing, monthly reconciliation, fund balance, and investment ledgers. If there are no questions on those, I'd ask for your approval of the financials.
So moved, Pickle.
Second, Newhouse.
Motion is second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mr. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle. Okay. Mr. Ellender, would you, was that section 1 or addendum 2, or did you do 2 through 5? I'm sorry.
The next one is the approval of the March
Appropriation resolution.
resolution, which is addendum number 6.
Got it. Okay.
Have your approval on that monthly resolution, please.
On the motion?
Moved, Denning.
Second, Steiner.
Any questions? Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mr. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Ms. Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle. Okay, moving on to item F, resolution 2004, which is to accept the amounts and rates for the tax year 2020 through 2021 for the Montgomery County Auditor, which is addendum 7.
So moved, Newhouse.
Second, Denning.
Newhouse.
Denning.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Ellender on the resolution?
Jerry, on
Yeah.
everything going on, I take it that the collection of taxes and everything will be delayed. Will that affect us much?
Well, since most of the taxes for the spring tax collection are already in,
Okay.
I don't expect it to have much effect now. And the next tax collection isn't till the fall. So hopefully, by then things will normalize somewhat and it won't be in effect. So I don't really see it being that much of an issue on property taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Great question, Marilyn. Okay, please call the roll.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Newhouse, yes.
Mrs.
Yes, Denning.
Ms. Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mr. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes. Huddle?
That's all I have. Thank you. There's just one thing I wanted to mention to you guys, and if you didn't know, that we had started working on the repair of the preschool wall that was damaged. The contractor is working, started this week, and has got quite a bit done already. If you're bored and you want something to do, take a drive past the preschool and you can see what's going on there as far as the repair.
So they're moving forward with it. There'll be no delay.
They actually started early because we're out of school.
Oh, good. Okay.
You
They
One advantage.
they weren't going to start until the week of spring break, but since we didn't have students in the building, they started this week.
And how long do they expect to be working on it?
I think it's going to be a couple of weeks at the most.
Okay.
They're moving really fast. It may be only a week. Now there'll be, once the wall is up, there's some interior things that we have to do. So it won't be used again this year, but we'll have it ready for next school year.
Jerry, I just had a couple questions on your report about the fuel tank.
Yes.
You mentioned that we're going to skip purchasing buses next year. We just purchased buses. You're talking the purchases we just made.
I'm talking about for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so the buses that you guys approved at last month's meeting or so, those are this fiscal year's purchases
Okay.
ending June 30th. So we have really got our bus fleet in pretty good shape as far as age now. And so a way to pay for this fuel tank project that's really needed is to just skip a year of buses, and we'll be fine with doing that because we have got our fleet in such good shape as far as age now.
Okay, great. One last question. Where is the fuel tank at? I guess it's obviously
fuel-
stuck up.
The fuel tanks now are between the maintenance garage and the old bus garage.
Okay.
On the back, next to the fence, on the far side of the transportation parking lot. On the north side.
And we're digging those up again. Environmentally, they live their life cycle, and now it's time to, by regulation, we need to dig that up.
Yes, and we're really kind of past due on that. So we're concerned, they have they're metal, unfortunately, so they have a useful life that, there's a potential that there could be a leak if we left them in the ground too long.
Sure.
So the new tanks, though, will not be in the ground. They will be above ground tanks, and they will be on the west side of the parking lot, like the back of the maintenance garage. Bus parking lot. So they'll be in a different location than they are now, but they'll be above ground. So we don't have to worry about this potential underground fuel leak in the future.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you. I appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Seeing no items of old business, we will move on to new business, and we will start with resignations and retirements, addendum 8. And I know it has Ms. Nicholas on here, but Jerry, is that you, or Chad, is that you or Krista that will be speaking for her?
Krista will.
Okay.
Okay, in your packet, you had A was resignations and retirements. Unless you have any questions, I just ask for your approval.
So moved, Pickle?
Second, Steiner.
Any questions or comments on resignations or retirements? Please call the roll.
Pickle,
Yes, Pickle?
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mr. Huddle,
Yes, Huddle.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mrs. Denning.
Yes, Denning.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item B, addendum number 9, Ms. Wagner.
Yes, and B is our employment. And so I'm pulling up my notes here that Nisha gave me. See if there's anything specifically she wanted me to say. Nope, so I would just ask for your approval on that unless you have any questions.
So moved, Denning.
Second, Newhouse.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Ms. Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mr. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mr. Hubble.
Yes, Huddle. Okay, moving on to item C, leave of absence, addendum number 10, Ms. Wagner.
Yes, and I am trying to pull that up. In your packet. Let's see here. Leave of absence, and those were listed for you in your packet. So unless you have any questions, I'd ask for your approval on that.
So moved, Pickle.
Second, Denning.
The motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Ms. Pickle, Ms. Pickle,
Oh, where'd she go? There she is.
Did we lose her? Let's see.
Ms.
Yes,
Pickle,
Pickle.
There we go.
Yes, Pickle.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mr. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mr. Hubble.
Yes, Huddle. At this time, we will move to item D, which is the first reading of the new and updated board policies. That is addendum number 11. Mr. William.
Okay, in your packet, you received policy updates. We actually had 10 revisions, and then out of the 10, well, we had 12 total, 2 new policies. The brand new ones are employment of personnel in summer school and adult education, and that just aligns with the 3120 policy with staff. And then you'll see the substitutes underneath there, and then you'll see the employment of personnel in summer school. So really, it's just aligning that. We never had policy for employing staff for summer school. And as you guys know, we utilize staff for a RISE program in summer school at Stebbins and Matter Middle. So what that part is right there as far as that personnel. And then the other brand new one, it goes along with all the new graduation requirements and expectations from the state of Ohio. It's 546002. And that really talks about something that we've practiced at Stebbins, and now as part of revised code and the update, talks about the students being at risk of not qualifying for a high school diploma. And you'll see in that new policy, it'll talk about development of a graduation plan, identifying at-risk students, which we discussed earlier, and we do a good job at Stebbins, and then just some procedures that go along with that. There is some expectations of parental notification for our at-risk students. Our counselors have really stepped up their game with that and done a good job at Stebbins, and Tina's really led the way with that. And then it talks about different types of interventions and support that can be available for our students. So that's a brand new policy along with the employment of summer school staff. Otherwise, you'll notice in the revisions, all the new revisions, mostly just ORC related, are in green. And then what we removed is struck out in red. Again, this is just the first reading. So as you guys work through this, if you have any questions going into the next meeting, we can certainly entertain those and make any additional revisions that we need to as a board.
Chris Pickle. I have your Mac will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet.
Okay.
While Chris is plugging in her Mac computer, I just want to mention, or Chad, I just have a question for you. As it relates to the policy on graduation, is any of the current policy that was just approved in House Bill 197, do we need to amend any of that, to amend this to put any of that into place? Or will that fall under the emergency plan that we would be required to do?
Yeah, that'll fall in the emergency plan. I didn't read anything in there as far as like having to make any revisions for your graduation policy. It was just the policy on the school calendar that we would need to make revisions to include that emergency plan, because we have the calamity stuff in there. We have the blizzard bag information in our policy. We do not have for emergencies, which is pretty consistent with other districts, because this is obviously something that's atypical that we're dealing with right now. So the language we put in there will cover everything and really cover everything that's embedded within House Bill 197, the amendments to that bill.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, there's no action taken on that. That is the first reading. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Wien on the first reading? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item E, which is to approve the invitation to bid for the above ground fuel tank equipment project at the Mad River Transportation Facility, which is addendum number 12. Mr. Ellender.
This project requires a public bid, so we worked with an architect to design the project, and he's prepared a packet that will go out to any contractors that would actually bid on the project. So I just want your approval to publish that invitation to bid.
Do I have a motion?
So moved, Pickle.
Second, Steiner.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments regarding the approval? If not, please call the roll.
Ms. Pickle,
Yes, Pickle.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mrs. Newhouse, Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're coming to close to the end of the meeting. At this time, I would seek any board member comments, and I'm just going to look across my line here, and I will start with Mrs. Steiner.
I'm good. Thank you though. Everybody's doing a great job, and I have heard comments back from the parents. I think when they first received the packets, they were a little overwhelmed because there was so much of it. But I reminded them it's not new items, it's stuff that's a review. The kids have all seen this before, and I think their fears were calmed once the kids dove into the packets and they realized that, you know, they've seen it before, and it's a review. So I've heard a lot of good things, and parents are saying that they see all the hard work that the staff did to put them together.
Good.
Thank you, Marilyn. Let's see, Julie.
Just the same as Marilyn, you know, I've had some questions, but it's not been complaints.
Okay,
You know, they've been pretty happy with everything going on, and that, you know, everybody's a little stressed. I don't know why that's doing that all of a sudden. Probably because I was trying to listen to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, if you mute the live stream.
I think it is now.
we're good.
Is that better?
Yep. Well, nope.
For a second, we'll-
Sorry. I wanted to see what it looked like on the YouTube.
You look good.
I wanted to see what the parents in that would be seeing if somebody actually.
Yeah, you look clear.
Okay, Julie, anything else?
No, that's fine.
Technical difficulties, that's all. Okay, I see Ruth.
I just agree with Mary. I've only heard things, and I kind of have firsthand look at my grandson, and it's just been amazing, really.
Okay,
Good.
Mrs. Pickle.
Nice job. I'm seeing a lot of comments on Facebook about how they love the when all the teachers drove around the neighborhood. So good job, guys. You guys are working real hard, and thank you so much. Another thing that probably we need to know is how do we get our agendas back to Mary? And so let us know how you want us to get our books back to her since the office is closed.
There's no hurry on that.
Okay,
Okay.
I think the comments have been said. I'll just echo. Guys, I wish you could have been to that parade. A lot of smiles. I think it was a cloudy day, but it bright day. With that said, just, great job, team. You did a wonderful job, and keep up the good work. And we're uncharted waters right now, and there's no right answer. It's just a lot of moving parts. Stay flexible, everyone. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Pickle.
Second, Marilyn Steiner.
I have a motion and a second. Mr. Ellender, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Pickle.
Mrs. Steiner,
Yes, Steiner.
Mrs. Denning,
Yes, Denning.
Mrs. Newhouse,
Yes, Newhouse.
Mr. Huddle.
Yes, Huddle.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Everyone, thank